The Dodgers survive a bullpen meltdown, go into extras, and finally pull out the win in the 11th with Roki Sasaki and Clayton Kershaw pitching in relief. What a crazy night in Arizona!
You are Locked On Dodgers, your daily Los Angeles Dodgers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
It's time for Locked On Dodgers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. LA is now just one win away from another NL West title after Blake Snell shines. Roki and Kersh come through in clutch relief innings, and Tommy Edmond gets the game-winning RBI in extras. Plus, our listener line suggests going Throwback Thursday with our starting pitchers. This and more in today's episode. The Dodgers needed this one last night. It was hard-fought, and they got it, Travis.
They did. It was, is it possible to have an incredible night and the same old sick feeling at the same time? Because that's what I got last night.
Yeah, that's definitely how it felt. We'll talk more about it today. He's Travis Rodgers. I'm Harry Ruiz, two guys who talk sports for a living and bleed Dodger blue for life. You can get more Travis on 710 ESPN LA and the world-famous ESPN LA app from 3 to 6 p.m. with the Travis and DeMarco Show. As for me, I'm the Spanish play-by-play broadcaster for the USC Football Trojans. Those games, you can listen to them, by the way, on the ESPN app as well, ESPN LA app, and the Las Vegas Raiders. But nothing beats jumping on the mic every weekday morning and diving deep into what I love most, talking Dodger baseball with you. And we want you to be a part of our show. Hit us up on the Locked On Dodgers listener line, 279-3-LOCKED or 279-356-2533. You can either leave us a voicemail or a text, and you might be featured in our show just like a listener will be later today. Leading off, scoreboard watching time. The Phillies won 11-1 to clinch a first-round bye in the postseason, guaranteeing that the Dodgers will play in the wild card. The Padres, they lost 3-1 to the Brewers, so combined with the Dodgers win in Arizona, that means Los Angeles' magic number is down to one. One win in their final 4 games of the season, or a Padres lost in their last 3 regular season games of the year, and LA will win the divisional crown and the 3 seed in the National League wild card round. All right, the Dodgers, they're 1 win away. Why? Because Blake Snell gave them a quality start. 6 innings pitched, 5 hits allowed, 1 walk, and only 1 earned run in Game 2 of a 3-game set in Arizona. He left the mound with LA up 3-1 thanks to a 2-run homer from Andy Pages in the 4th. Pages, by the way, is quietly having an incredible year. Only Shohei Ohtani has more home runs on this team. And when you got Pages hitting a home run, Teo having a clutch RBI double, it's like, okay, you start feeling yourself, but then at the same time, you knew that the bullpen was coming in. Fortunately, the Dodgers bats were able to get them back in this game.
Yeah, no, Pages made a great catch in left field, too, that saved some runs along the way. Also, I like what you said, Harry. Andy Pages is one of those guys that does some stuff occasionally that makes you go, what is he doing out there? But he also does a bunch of really great things. I think that by any measure, like obviously if you take probably Shohei off the board and you take Yamamoto off the board as far as just having great seasons, I think that Andy Pages is number 3 as far as the guy that performed above expectations. He has been that good. He's been absolutely terrific. Let's go back to Blake Snell for a second, because I think there's a couple of things going on there. Number one, he wasn't very good last night, and yet he only gave up 1 run. And that is incredibly encouraging, I think. I think that, pitchers, you get one of 3 things. You get the day where everything's lighting up and biting hard, and your fastball has life, and you can put the ball wherever you want. Those are the days where it's easy for a major league pitcher, when everything is just working. I'm going to put it here, I'm going to put it there, I'm going to set him up with this, I'm going to finish him off with that, and you cruise through 7 innings and you give up a run or whatever, and it feels good. There are days when you got nothing, right? Just absolutely nada, and you get your head kicked around. Happens occasionally, right? There's not much you can do about it. And then there's like the middle 60%, which is, all right, man, I got a little, but I don't have it all. And I got to figure this out on the fly, and I got to compete, and I got to battle, and I got to fight. And it felt like last night that was what Snell got, because we've seen Snell when he's lights out. We saw him last time and he's lights out. Nobody touches him. That's not what he was last night, but he still found a way to give them multiple innings, get the lead, hold the lead, and put his team in a chance to win. And I think that bodes really well for the postseason, that these guys are not only playing really well, as far, or I should say pitching really well, but they're competing at a really high level. And Blake Snell, his reputation before he got here was well earned, that this was a guy that fights and battles and competes every time he goes out there. And Dodger fans are really getting a chance to see it last night. I was super. It's not the best I've ever seen him pitch, but considering the situation, considering that the bullpen has been as shaky as it's been, I couldn't have been more impressed with Snell last night. I really took a mark up on the guy.
Yeah, he has ace type stuff because he is an ace. That's why they
Right.
paid him as much money as
Right.
they did during the offseason. But it's unrealistic to think that a pitcher is going to have 9
Doesn't happen
innings,
like
2
that.
hits, no earned runs every single time they go out there. Nowadays, if you get 6 innings, 7 innings out of a starter, you feel like you're in a good spot, especially yesterday. After the 5th inning, there was a moment where I was like, if he gets us 1, 2 more outs, I think we'll be good. Fortunately, he got another situation where he had Dave Roberts walking out to the mound and he sent him back to.
That was weird.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
that
felt
was weird
like
because
it
he
was
was. What was he out there, Harry? Was he out there for 10 seconds?
Yeah, and then after the game, Blake Snell said he went out there to ask me if I was good. I said, yeah, so that's it. I was like, you usually don't do that as a manager. You sent out there Mark Pryor to check in on the pitcher to see
Yeah.
if he's okay. So it worried me for a second. I was like, is it an injury situation? Did
Yeah.
he something that we didn't see? But fortunately, it
Work.
didn't seem to be the case. And
Yeah, no, I was confused by it a little bit. It did seem odd because Dave comes out for one of two reasons. Like you said, if there's an injury situation, he'll come onto the field, or he comes out to take the pitcher out of the game. Those are the two things he does. I guess Snell is the guy that he likes to check in on. Who knows? Maybe that's just the relationship that they have. We've seen it a couple of times in the last couple of starts, but we talk about some of the pitching acquisitions that the Dodgers had during the offseason and kind of roll your eyes at some of the things that have happened. But you saw Snell last night and you realize why they gave him the deal that they did. He's a battler, man. I'm a huge fan.
hey, you have some high maintenance guys where it's like, okay, I can't send my pitching coach out there. I'll go out there so he can see that I'm interested,
Yeah.
that I'm in with him. And Blake Snell, he can be a little bit out there at times. So it's good to have somebody that knows that can go
It is.
one-on-one with him.
It is. And the Dodgers are starting, like you mentioned, we talked about Pajes right off the top. And you mentioned that the hit that Teo had in the game that brought in some runs. And then Tommy Edmond, he hasn't had a year that I think Dodger fans were hoping that he would have. He got off to that hot start and then has been injured most of the year, but he made the diving catch in center field that saved Kershaw, and then he gets the game-winning hit or driving in the go-ahead run right there. And you're starting to see their guys that were such big performers in the playoffs last year perform like big performers. And I think the thing that I take out most of all last night, Harry, was the way that they competed. They played that game like it was a playoff game. The Dave Roberts managed that game like it was a playoff game. They threw everything they had at the Diamondbacks. And I don't do this easily, but I'll give the Diamondbacks a bunch of credit. They battled hard too. They kept coming up with big hits. Corbin Carroll was terrific last night and the way that he can run. And it was a really fun game to watch, and that the Dodgers came out on the right side of it, especially considering they had to go down into the valley to get it right. Like they did all the crazy stuff they've been doing. It was a really high quality win, even though in the grand scheme of things, it meant something, but it wasn't a playoff game, but it sure felt like one.
And they're a dangerous team that honestly I wouldn't want to play
Get
in the
'em out.
postseason
Get
again.
'em
I mean,
out,
I know that the Mets have as much talent as a lot of teams,
Give me the
not a
Mets.
lot of teams baseball, but I would prefer going against a team like the Mets that just goes ice cold instead of the D-backs who've gotten ice hot, super hot.
The D-backs are clearly not intimidated by the Dodgers. They're not as good as the Dodgers, but there is no intimidation factor at all. Those guys are ready to go toe to toe. I mean, I'm sure you were watching it too, but Hunter Green went toe to toe with Paul Skeens last night. I don't need to see that. I don't need to see that in the postseason where you have an electric arm like that. The Mets have a bunch of really good players. I'm not saying that the Mets are an easy mark, but the Mets are the most unpredictable. I think that the Mets are up and down and all over the place. And if you catch them in one of their bad marks, I think that's a good matchup for the Dodgers. No, the way the Dodgers pitch out of the bullpen, no one is going to be an easy mark. But given my choices, I think I'd pick the Mets at this point.
Hey, with what we saw yesterday with Teo, with Andy Pages, with Tommy Edmond being clutch, this is the kind of depth with all of them playing at the right pace that you need. Pages, Teo, Edmond complementing the big three of Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, and then add Rortvedt, add the rest of the guys out on the field. And it's like, hey, I like my chances with the Dodgers winning in October if everybody is clicking. And remember, Edmond last year, he didn't show up pretty much until late in the season.
You're right.
They traded for him and he was injured and he ended up being the NLCS MVP. He ended up being a very, very important piece to win that World Series. So I'm like, I like the way that they did things last night.
I did too. There was one thing, and I know we're going to talk about the bullpen coming up here in a second, and I'm not going to talk about it right here, but there was one other thing that I did not like last night, and it's from a player who I really do like, and a player that they're going to need to be impactful coming up here in, what are we talking, 5 days before the start of the play. Kike Hernandez's at bat in the 11th inning was brutal. It was a brutal at bat that you, in that weird postseason formula, or I should say extra inning formula, where you're putting that runner on second base. Dude, when you're playing for a run, you can't be taking daddy hacks when you're leading off. There wasn't one swing in that at bat that was designed to get that runner to move over to third base, right? Those were 3 hero hacks that made no sense to me whatsoever. Now you had to get a hit. Hits are hard to come by in the major leagues. You had to get a hit to score that. Now, thankfully, Edmond was able to deliver, but I really did not like that at bat from Hernandez. And I'm a Kike fan. I think Kike's great. We know what he does in October, but that was one of these, dude, what are you doing up there? Let's move that runner along. I'm not saying you got a bunt in that situation necessarily, but a veteran player like Hernandez has to hit the ball on the ground to the right side. He has to hit the ball to the outfield. To have 3 hero hacks like that made me kind of go like, what are you doing, bro?
And that's the excuse with him, right? October Kike, postseason Kike. It's like he'll show up. Well, we hope he does because he almost cost the Dodgers last night in Arizona.
He's pretty clutch, so I'll give him. I'm not jumping on him with both feet, but it's more one of those little flicks in the head, like, wake up, dude, let's go.
It's time. We're less than a week away, and you brought up the relief pitcher. So, bullpen chaos solver coming up on Locked On Dodgers. How 2 Dodger starters came in clutch when it mattered most.
The NFL season is here, right? Week 4 coming up, starting tonight, as a matter of fact. And FanDuel is making sure that you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Because right now, if you're new customers, you just have to bet $5. And if you hit on that $5 bet, if that $5 bet wins, here's what you get. You get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. And there are a million reasons to love FanDuel because, it fits however you like to bet, right? If you like player props, FanDuel's got you covered on that. If you like building a same-game parlay, those are super fun. I like those. FanDuel's got you covered there. You like live betting, jumping in as it's starting to unfold. The game's going one way. You have a hunch that your team's going to come back. Jumping in on live action, FanDuel has you covered. It makes every game more exciting, whether you're watching your team or you're just keeping an eye on your fantasy lineup. Playoff baseball right around the corner. Nothing quite as pressure-packed as that. It's quick, it's easy, and it's the best way to add a little bit more energy to your Sunday. So, are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet.
Thanks for making us your first listen wherever you may be tuning in, either on your favorite podcast app or our YouTube channel. Subscribe to it. That's completely free. You can also smash that notification bell so you never miss a beat. Full episodes, hot takes, breaking Dodgers news, and the Dodgers postcast show with Pete Fox live after the final out of every game. If it drops, you're on it. That's how you become an everydayer here on Locked On Dodgers. Sometimes the bullpen is unpredictable, but you hope for moments like this. Enter Roki Sasaki and Clayton Kershaw. Both Dodgers starting pitchers came out of the bullpen in a high-leverage situation. Sasaki, the Japanese rookie, was simply electric in the 7th inning. A perfect 1-2-3 frame that kept LA ahead 3-1. His stuff was nasty, and he showed exactly why the Dodgers might lean on him in October. I really enjoyed watching him on the mound, Travis.
Might, lean on him in October. He's their starting today. He's their best relief pitcher by a mile.
He might be their closer.
Yeah. I mean, look, I don't want to overstate this. That was perhaps the most important outing of Roki Sasaki's life last night, right? I mean, Roki had a rough introduction to the major leagues. Roki struggled. Roki's stuff looked good, but not great. His command was not particularly sharp. They had the season that they just had where their bullpen is just melting down before everybody's eyes. And that young man, that young player came in there and was not good. He was great. And you could see it on his face. You could see it in his body language. You could see it in the way he came out of the bullpen and jogged/ran to the mound. That was a guy that was ready for battle. That was a guy that was ready to engage from pitch one. He worked fast. He threw strikes. He attacked hitters. He finished them off when he got a chance to do it. It was a 10 out of 10 considering the situation. My only, and I understand it, and I'm not saying that they should have done something differently, but my one reservation on this, because look, I get it. Under any circumstances, Harry, that a guy that pitches one good inning, you'd be like, yeah, okay, that's nice. Good start. Let's see what happens next. But considering where the Dodgers are, that was a revelation. It was an absolute revelation. My question is, can he back it up with another outing today? Or maybe an outing on Friday in Seattle? Like, you're going to have to see how quickly you can turn him around. Or could he have gone another inning? Could he have pitched? Could you have set him down and run him back out there? I get why they didn't do it, and I'm okay with them not doing it. But the questions are still out there. What's he going to look like on the turnaround? And what would he look like if you put him back out there for a second inning? Because, the adrenaline that comes with coming out of that bullpen is through the roof, right? You are pumped, your head's banging, your heart's banging, and you go out there and it's boom, boom, boom. And he did a great job. You go into the dugout and all that emotion bleeds off and you come down and it's almost like sobering up all of a sudden. It's like, whoa, man, this is a totally different thing. And now I got to go back out there and do it again. Can he get back up to that level of intensity? I don't know. We'll see. I'm optimistic. He was terrific last night. I loved the compete. I loved the stuff. And for the first time in I don't know how long, it's like, okay, let's see what happens next. It was incredibly important to get what they got from Roki Sasaki.
It was like, okay, that's why everybody was mad that the Dodgers got Roki Sasaki on a rookie deal, right, because he's so damn good. And then be like, okay, 2 thumbs up. We loved what we saw in the 7th inning. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, then came the 8th inning. The Dodgers had a 3-run lead, but Alex Vesia and Edgardo Henriquez combined to allow 3 runs, tying the game 4-4. And I mean, all my white hair was getting whiter. I was getting more and more pissed off. I was like, we're really seriously going to let this one go away with the Padres stepping on our toes? Fortunately, Clayton Kershaw, he came into the 9th and delivered a perfect inning to no base runners, no drama, just pure dominance, just how we like it. And actually, Dave Roberts, the Dodgers skipper, spoke about Roki Sasaki and Clayton Kershaw going out there on the mound and doing their thing. Let's hear the Dodgers skipper.
A huge boost. I think that right now, you're betting on people. And, for me, I just, I trust Clayton, and he did a great job tonight and got his juices going, and he picked us up big with a clean inning. And, Roki, you just kind of don't really know what to expect. I think that him, taking the opportunity to go into the pen, something he's never done, speaks volumes for this organization. And, what he did before to kind of get ready for this moment was really good.
Right there, you heard Dave Roberts say they're betting on people. They're betting on Clayton Kershaw, who has every accolade you've ever wanted from a pitcher. You got Roki Sasaki, who in his native country did spectacular things as a super young player. But let's remember, he's only 23 years old. Then he comes to America, and it was a culture shock for him, both inside and outside the field. But now he's finally feeling comfortable. And you said it, Travis. It's just one outing. We need to see him do it consistently. But so far. I'm excited, and you love what Dave Roberts said there too. Is like, hey man, we need to trust these guys, and they delivered when we needed them.
And I think the most important part about Kershaw is, I'm not going to lie, it's weird seeing him down there. It was weird seeing Clayton Kershaw take the mound in the 9th inning. But you know what else it was? It's a little reassuring. It was one of those, like, this is not, Mason Miller who's going to come in there and throw 400 miles an hour. This is not Aroldis Chapman who's just going to come in there and bang, bang, bang guys out. But
Josh Hader.
Right. There's a certain amount of confidence in knowing at least he's not going to freak out, right? At least Clayton Kershaw knows what pressure feels like. Clayton Kershaw knows what expectations feels like. Clayton Kershaw knows to go slow when everyone else is going fast. Like he's just been around the block so many times. There was a level of calmness that came through him that I think kind of permeated the rest of the team. He was absolutely terrific in that role. I thought he did a really good job. And let's not just, I get it that Vesia was bad. Henriquez was bad. That Dreyer put them in a situation that was not very good. But as good as Sasaki and Kershaw were, there were two other, nice little moments. Trinan came in there and got a quick punch out and did a really good job. He wasn't throwing very hard, but the ball was moving like crazy. So Blake Trinan had his first good day on a baseball field in a really long time. We talk about how quickly this stuff can turn. I thought he did a good job to get out of a very tricky situation. They put him in to the middle of the fire right there. And then, we don't talk about him a lot. And he is one of those guys that isn't, quite as radioactive as the rest of the guys. Robleski pitched a great 11th inning. And I, think about the grand total of the night. There was some bad, right? Dreyer, bad. Obviously, Vesia, bad. Henriquez, bad. Sasaki, good. Kershaw, good. Trinan, good. Robleski, good. You had 4 guys come out of that bullpen last night that had some success. And I get it. It's one game, but where we are in the season and what it's been, you got to take what you can find. And at least last night, there were some things to find.
Yeah, with all the blown saves that this team has had, we'll take any success for that bullpen whenever we can get it. And talking about somebody coming out of the bullpen, Kershaw spoke about his experience doing that for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, it's an adrenaline rush for sure. I think relieving is just it's a different animal altogether. So you kind of have to figure out how to maintain your heartbeat and get going and. But, it is a lot of fun, and it's fun to have success out there. So fortunate to get through that inning. And, I don't think any of us really know what it looks like in October yet. But, I had a long time off in between starts. So instead of throwing a bullpen, I just threw it in the game today, and I'll be ready to go Sunday. But glad I could help out tonight.
Yeah, and Dave Roberts had said if he doesn't pitch out of the bullpen on Wednesday night, he's not pitching until Sunday in Seattle. And I was hoping there was no need for Kershaw in this game, but there was definitely a need to have him out there in this game, and he delivered.
Yeah, look, they're going to need him out of the bullpen in the postseason. I'm thrilled he pitched last night. I'm thrilled that they used him in a high leverage situation. I'm thrilled that he got to experience that get up in the middle of the game, get ready, come in, pressure situation. Not that he hasn't done it before, but that's not what he does. And just getting to experience it. And, like we've said a few times, that was as close to simulating the pressure of a postseason game as I think you can get during the regular season. It was tense, and he answered the call. It was a really good night for Clayton Kershaw, and I'm optimistic moving forward. Who knows, right, Harry? But at least instead of I don't know what we're gonna do, it's like, well, hey, let's try that again and see what happens. There was some good stuff last night.
I didn't want him to pitch, but this ended up being the best case scenario for the Dodgers, giving both Roki Sasaki and Clayton Kershaw the opportunity to pitch in relief in a tight game and not allow a single base runner between both of them. There's a really good chance that these are the potential X factors in the postseason for the boys in blue. Now, Throwback Thursday in October. Next on Locked On Dodgers, we're breaking down the suggestion from one of our listeners for postseason starters. Guys, you've probably heard of Viagra or Cialis. Maybe you've even tried them. But if you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to meet Ruiz Go Long. This isn't just another ED pill, it's a total game changer for confidence. The process is simple. Connect with a board-certified doctor 100% online, and if prescribed, your treatment ships discreetly right to your door. Ready to level up your confidence in the bedroom? Head to rugiet.com and use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB for 15% off your first order. That's rugiet.com, promo code LOCKEDONMLB. Make sure to use your code so they know that we sent you. Don't forget to follow Locked On Dodgers not only on YouTube, but on X, Instagram, and TikTok as well. You can find Travis on social media at Travis Rodgers on X and Instagram. Meanwhile, I'm at Harry Ruiz on X, at Harry_Ruiz on Instagram, and at Harry Ruiz_ on TikTok. Tony from Los Feliz sent in a fun question. Should the Dodgers go Throwback Thursday in the postseason with their starters? Let's listen in.
Hey, Harry, this is Tony in Los Feliz. To you and Travis, congratulations on the show. Wonderful job. Just wanted to leave a brief message to talk about what I think the Dodgers need to really significantly consider for the postseason. I'm sure they're looking at it. A lot of people are talking about a change, obviously, in the back end of the bullpen, the leverage guys, and also a piggyback situation with the starters. I've got a different concept, and I'm sure that some of them are thinking about it, but probably not seriously. I'm thinking 2005 Chicago White Sox complete games. Remember those from your childhood? Complete games? Fernando Valenzuela carrying two bills, all of 5 foot something, whatever, 6'1", pitching 150, 160 pitches a game, pitching shutouts. Oral Hershiser not allowing a run, pitching complete games. You're telling me these giant thoroughbreds can't do that in the post? Come on. That's your solution. And I think that if they can't, then they should at least pitch as long as they can for as much as they can until their arm falls off, until they get into trouble. Then you could think about bringing in some of those other starters or maybe some different looks out of the bullpen. They've got to think about it, and I really significantly suggest that they do. So we'll see. You've got agents, you've got medical personnel concerned about their long-term health. Hey, you want to win at all costs? That's what they've got to do. And they can. I think they can. And will they do it? Will they allow them to go a third time through or 3.5 times through? We don't know. Anyway, guys, congratulations, and go Blue. I think they got a good shot as well. Okay, bye-bye.
All right, Travis, honestly, if a starter could throw 9 with fewer than 100 pitches, Dave Roberts would absolutely jump at the opportunity. I don't feel, though, that they're going to have him out there for 120, 130 pitches, Fernando Valenzuela or Hershiser style, especially nowadays with all the critique that the Dodgers get whenever a pitcher gets hurt.
Let me start by saying this. Tony, please call back. That was great. I love that. I want Tony to be a regular here on Locked On Dodgers. I want all of you to be regulars on Locked On Dodgers. Look, I kind of feel the same way you do, Tony. I would love to see a guy say, you know what, man, forget it. I'm finishing what I started. I am going to go 9 innings. I am going to throw 135 or 40 pitches. I would love to see it. I would love to see the attitude of, hey, man, we're trying to win the World Series. I don't care what happens in 2029. That's not my problem. I want to win tonight. I would love to see it. Tony, the chances of this happening are a big fat 0. It's just not going to happen. The amount, like you used the word, I think is the right word, Tony, which is thoroughbreds, right? This would be like running your horse into the ground, like after it runs the Kentucky Derby, having it plow the backfield afterwards to make sure that, you know, the crops are growing on time. They're just not asking these guys to do it anymore. They haven't trained to do it the way that Oral Hershiser or Don Drysdale or Fernando Valenzuela or any of these, or Clayton Kershaw, even early in his career, were trained to do it. They're trained to do different things. These guys are F1 cars, right? They're not, NASCAR things that go in there and bang against each other. They're meant to be out there at high speed, high RPM all the time. I love the attitude, Tony, or I should say, I hope we see something that approaches 9 innings. I think you are going to see them go deeper. I think you are going to see them take some of the guardrails off as opposed to, hey, 7 innings is the max. And if somebody hits 7 innings and they got, I don't know, 95, 6 pitches, well, I wouldn't be surprised at all if you went out there and saw them in the 8th inning because of what the bullpen situation is. But I don't think we're going to see a Hershiser Valenzuela run back. As much as I'd like to see it, it's not in the cards.
Yeah, if they're at 85, 90, 95 pitches and in control, you leave them in there if they feel it. Like even Shohei Ohtani, if he's 6 innings in and he still feels good, let him be out there.
And like if any of these guys were at the end of their deals, I think maybe you might be more likely to see this, but we're just getting started with Ohtani. You're just getting started with Yamamoto. You're just getting started with Snell. Glasnow just simply is not built for that. So that's not even really a realistic option. And Emmett Sheehan is just getting started. There's a lot of run. I'm like I said, I know I'm repeating myself. I get the idea. It's a fun thing to think about, but part of the thing is they do need to think about these guys' health beyond this season. But I think what I think will happen is you will see them push the limits out of the bullpen as far as using starters as relieving pitchers, coming back perhaps on shorter rest than we might expect. But I would not wait around waiting for a Pedro Martinez 135 pitch complete game. I don't think it's coming.
Yeah, Yamamoto, year 2 of a 12-year deal. Blake Snell, year 1 of a 5-year deal. Tyler Glasnow, year 2 of a 5-year deal. Shohei, year 2 of a 10-year deal. You want them to be healthy the rest of those contracts. You want to win the World Series this year to go back-to-back, but you also want to win the one in 2026, 27, 28. So I love the call, Tony. Please hit us up soon, and I have a feeling we'll be hearing him very, very soon. All right, that'll do it for today's show. If you're still craving more baseball talk, have the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night be your second listen. Every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find it on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. And also, catch Pete Fox after every Dodgers game on our YouTube channel with his live postcast. We'll be back tomorrow, Friday, with a very fun show where Travis Rodgers shares one-on-one interviews with 2 current Dodgers, Miguel Rojas and Dalton Rushing, plus legendary pitcher Oral Hershiser. It's a can't-miss episode. We appreciate you riding with us. Until next time, keep it real, keep it Dodger Blue.